Hey, this is Shortwaves. I'm Nick. I'm here with Raissa Pardini, who's a multidisciplinary designer, to talk about her work and how things are going through this year. Hi.
Hi, Shortwave. Hi, Nick. Thanks for having me.
How's it going?
Yeah, good. Actually, I am doing much better than the first two lockdowns. I've got a new way of working. I've introduced working only 4 days a week instead of 5. And I started to meditate, which I'm definitely not the person that will meditate. You know, my mind is not trained to take a break. So it feels that, I do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, training myself to not think about anything for a number of minutes, which is good.
So that probably says a lot about the artwork you did during the first lockdown, which became quite an iconic, well seen throughout.
I talk a lot about vulnerability during my work. I think it's important to just show that no one is perfect. Sometimes I do some graphics that reflect that. And one of them was this, it's okay to be upset because I am too. And we just decided to put it on a billboard, and it was in front of Jaguar Shoes. So.
No, yeah, that's cool, man. Like, many moons ago, you worked in Jaguar Shoes. How was that for you?
I started to work in Jaguar Shoes probably 2 weeks after I arrived in London.
We're basically having our 20th anniversary this year. Can I ask, did you know of Jaguar Shoes before?
Yeah. I mean, you guys always put a lot of art. A lot of artists worked in Jaguar Shoes as well, part-time, so it's kind of a connection. You can't not making friends that work in hospitality, Mostly if it's an environment that, I remember in Jaguar Shoes sometimes I was writing down the songs that they were going, in the bar because I love the song, and then I was writing down the name of an artist that I just spoken to because it was a costumer. It's just like all of these little things that then you go home at the end of the shift and you feel like you learned something, you met someone, you share your story with someone else. It's nice. It's really nice.
The work has been very much recently. You do a lot of stuff with fans, right? Just done work for Squid.
So I've been working for a couple of studios and places in London as a designer. Not necessarily working directly with the band at first, but sometimes the band will see the poster that I did for that gig. They will like it, and then more work will come in because maybe they were keen to see what could have been developed. And having all this contact from the music industry, I think that really gave me a lot of confidence to go freelancer, because those were the first people I could say, hey, I decided to go freelancer. Have you got anything for me? So, Squid, Idols, Orielles. It's difficult to select a few.
Did a music video for Fur, which was amazing.
Yes, I did a lyric video for Fur because we started doing a poster together first. And then we decided to take, the colors and the typography that it was in the poster to take it into a video.
You've also, I know, which is quite a big deal because I do adore that woman, is Dolly Parton. You did the cover of her recent book, Not Trump, Not Blonde.
Some of these books that I've done, they're all coming from the Omnibus Press, new titles. So the Dolly Parton in Conversation was one of them. We needed to redo the cover. It's quite mental. It's the closest I've been to this goddess,
Steve Mac book as well, and he's a regular at the Victoria, and I've seen that he's been at quite a number of gigs at the venues.
Yeah, with Steve was fun because sometimes these artists don't want to deal with the designers. There's an accountant that does everything for them. Some other times they want to be involved more, or some other times you get to meet them somehow. And with Steve, I was in South by Southwest last year, and he was chatting in front of me with the guy, and so I approached him. I was like, "Sorry, Steve," and he was like, "Yeah." So I'm the designer of your book. We started chatting, and it was lovely. And like, a book is a precious thing, a very precious thing, because sometimes it talks about someone's lifetime, you know. There's something about books that is really special.
Talking of the Victoria, you've done some commissions, and yeah, we're obviously hoping that this year would be an exhibition at Jaguar Shoes, but at the moment that's on hold, and none of us really know when that's going to happen.
Everything is very tricky, because when you think that the pandemic is over, maybe we will have to deal with Brexit, and the music industry is suffering so much.
There's going to be a lot of young people that are coming out of college looking to start their career in graphic design or illustration. If you were able to go back to your 17-year-old self, what kind of advice would you be giving?
Always trying to be there for younger designers, to make sure they know I'm there to listen. There's so much social media pressure, there's so much competition pressure. Unfortunately, this is the industry, and at first it can be a bit harsh, but it takes everyone a while to understand who we are, and just try not to think about competition, just try not to think about the number of followers that someone has, because there's so many things that we can't control. So, I really love what I do, and it took me a while to do my job the way I love doing my job. I was almost leaving my job for good just because I wasn't happy. I gave it another go, and then everything happened just after that. It's difficult to speak up for what you want to say and, see beautiful things, make other people see the beautiful things you see in your head, right? So it's important to have that, the arrogance of putting people down just because we don't think that they do a good job. It's very personal, and it's very mean. Try not to listen to those people, because when I stopped listening to those people, I got better. So
that's amazing advice. Yeah. Recently, I understand you've also just done some work with Adobe. Is that right?
Yeah. Adobe wanted to give a platform to 4 different women or femme, anyone that identify themselves as a femme women. So they asked FemType, which is this other platform that is really, really good and really pushes all of these women in the industry, in the typography, to be seen, and they share that work and really like trying to, work on that very awkward gender gap. Yeah, it was kind of nice, because we are not gatekeeper of something, as creative. It's okay to give away some sort of advices and show the process.
So, like, on that point, would you share some of your, who are your biggest influences, your idols, would you say?
One of my idols that I actually met is Malcolm Garrett, the designer that did all of the Buzzcocks records and, Duran Duran. He works with geometrical shapes and very bold color and typography. So he's definitely someone, with Peter Saville as well, that kind of illustrated the punk. We actually worked together on a project. There's always a little fear of meeting idols, right? But Malcolm is very supportive. He's very ahead his time. His idea of bringing me in was to, again, balance that gender gap. I think another idol of mine must be Keith Haring. When I was a kid, I was studying graphic design in high school. And in Pisa, you can find, at the back of a church, you can find one of the biggest murales of Keith Haring still there. And I remember seeing Keith Haring and studying history of art back then, being very confused, because I was like, how can, I see this as art, but it's very graphical, it's very illustrative, it's very colorful. And I was studying, the Renaissance or the Middle Age, and which I love, of course. I've got a massive passion for history of art, but the simplicity and the striking boldness of seeing a key firing in person, that's the kind of turning point that I thought, I want to do something like that. And I started to use a lot of bold colors, outlines and things like that.
That's an incredible story of how of a piece of public artwork having an absolute influence and impression on a young person's life. It's amazing.
Totally. They wanted to get rid of it, and a lot of people were signing up, say, this has to stay. This is a piece of work that must have changed many people's lives, and also is a great attraction for the city,
We should talk about ethics. I know that you're quite involved in and interested in ethical practice.
When it comes to, homophobia or racism or things that just going against human rights, I don't want to work with. Actually, one of the things I've done this year in my new 2021 rules is that I included something on my contract that say that if I want to terminate a job, because I found out of any racism or anything that goes against human rights, I'm entitled to terminate the job, get paid, and donate most of the money to a charity. With all of the events, I think that the word stopped for a year, and we all tried to do better. From the Black Lives Matter, there's a couple of labels that have been shut down because they found out that they were harassing women. There are things that we took a time to rethink, to come out and call out people that didn't do the right thing.
To finish up, I don't know if you know, with the shortwaves that we do a pin-up profile interview. So I'm going to do quick fire questions. Try and answer as quick as you can.
Okay.
First up would be, what's your food that you always eat too much of?
Pasta.
If you had to pick your favourite font or logo, which would it be?
Milton Glaser, because anything that he did, I really love his typography side. So,
favourite cocktail?
So my favourite cocktail isn't vegan, and that's why I miss it so much. It's whiskey sour.
Favourite childhood animation, cartoon, what was your favourite?
I think Flintstones. Because it was just so surreal. I mean, the things that these guys were doing, I was like, why do you have a car if you have to still run with your feet instead of the wheels? Things like that.
Kermit or Elmo?
Kermit the frog, because we got our big things in my family about frogs. My mum collects frogs because of a thing that happens in our town. So always frogs.
Your first childhood crush. Who did you crush on? Famous person. Who did you?
Oh, Leonardo DiCaprio. I had everything. My auntie went to Spain. She came back with this massive Leonardo DiCaprio poster that was as big as my door, and I was so happy. I had everything. I even had a wallet with his face on. So.
Most recent band that you've fallen in love with?
Okay, so I've been discovering this compilation called Epitech, and it's about Ethiopian jazz.
Okay, and then going the full reverse, the first record you ever purchased.
I remember the first record that I got given from my dad. He gave me two records. It was Ziggy Stardust and Transformed by Lou Reed. And those records, I can listen to them forever. I'll never get bored. They're just, every time I find a little detail in their music that I didn't notice before. It's quite an insane feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Oh no, of course, Nick. Thank you.
Give you the bye.
Wave.
With the short wave.